as we're getting into the spring and summer seasons, there's a lot of events that are going on. So we wanted to bring John on to talk about how to really decrease our liability in these events and increase the fun times. John, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, Emilio. Yeah, I'm always on here talking about, your homeowners insurance, property insurance, but this is something that this time of year we start to get the requests come in and start putting together some policies for folks that are looking to get. Usually, it's a 1-day event policy. Sometimes it can be 2 or 3 days, depending on what kind of event you got going on. But it is maybe not common knowledge that you can get a policy for an event that's going to be only as short as a day or even half a day. Most common one would be for a wedding.
What are some of like the things that could happen? Some of the liabilities that we're protecting against, and what are some of the limitations in addition to that the policy does not handle?
I guess the number one thing that comes to mind for me in terms of like importance when it comes to liability would be your liquor liability coverage.
Yeah.
Just because the bartending service that you're bringing in or the company that you're working with for providing alcohol is got their specific licenses and their insurance, it doesn't mean that you as the host of the party are just completely held harmless in any potential issues just because they have insurance. And at the end of the day, those are some really sticky claims when somebody leaves a party after drinking too much and goes on to either accidentally damage somebody's property or somebody gets injured. Obviously kind of stuff you don't like to think about, but the liquor liability coverage on an event policy will provide coverage for any damages or injuries that may be caused by a guest who became too intoxicated at your event. And it's really important if you plan to serve any alcohol at your event, whether or not you're doing an open bar. It's still super important. And it's important to make sure that you ask for this specific coverage to be included on your 1-day event policy, because it doesn't come standard. Just because you have the liability coverage on the policy doesn't necessarily mean that it extends to liquor liability. But then you have your traditional liability, like if somebody just gets hurt, I don't know, like you're putting up one of those big tents outside and it's got all of the like the ropes and stakes that are holding it up and keeping it as the night goes on, it gets dark, like I've been known to trip over one of those things before. They're just hanging out there and just waiting to be tripped on, and that's the kind of thing that somebody could get hurt on. And ultimately, I know any kind of event you have, it's you're surrounded by family and friends, but if somebody gets badly injured, somebody's going to be footing the bill for something. And so this liability insurance definitely protects against bodily injury. And then the other thing, and this is what a venue may be looking for when they're actually requiring you to get this insurance, because it's not uncommon these days for venues to actually ask for you to get this insurance, would be the property damage coverage. So property damage liability. If you or a guest, somebody at the party, accidentally causes damage to the property of the venue, wherever it may be, that liability protection is going to foot the bill for potentially damaging the venue's property. So when it comes to liability, that's the big three things: bodily injury, property damage, and then liquor liability. Super important.